What is going on, guys? Lee Sanders here. You're checking out an all-new The RCWR Show coming at you for Monday night of October 21st, 2019. What is going on, man? A couple of minutes removed from an all-new Monday Night Raw. We'll jump into that in just a little bit. Hey, man, covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Welcome one, welcome all. I'm still feeling a little bit of travel lag. If you're connected with me throughout social media, you've been checking out the shows, at least within the past 3 weeks. Y'all know this past weekend, I was out in PA. Once again, great time. Shout out to those I was able to interact with out there. And a lot of laughs, a lot of good fun, good food, good drinks. Took home a couple of souvenirs, some IPAs. As y'all know, I'm a big IPA fan. We're going to talk a lot more about that trip to PA, myself and Tammy. That's going to be on an exclusive edition of Wrestling with the Topics that's available on our Patreon page for our Patreon members only. I hear some of you guys say, I really got to get in on that Patreon. Well, you should. It's only $5 a month. Pay so little and you get a lot of great content. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. So yeah, I'm still feeling a little bit of travel lag from that. It's taking me a little bit to kind of get back into the groove of things. I actually went back to work today. And it was kind of weird when I think about it because I am off tomorrow and I took Tuesday off for the sole purpose of going to my local GameStop. I haven't done this in a minute, but taking the day off from work so I can actually go to GameStop and pick up a new street release game. In this case, WWE 2K20. Like, I haven't done that in a good minute, so I kind of felt that with the past two WWE 2K games I really didn't play, I kind of felt like, okay, let's see what's going on with this installment. So for those of you wondering if I'm going to be checking out 2K, I am. I'm sadly not going to be getting the digital version, though. I'm actually going to be getting the physical copy so I can get some of those supercard bonus items and all that, right? I was going to get the Ultimate SmackDown Edition one, the 20th anniversary one, but I don't want to go over that whole spiel again. Longtime listeners already, or at least folks that's been listening the past couple of weeks, know why I ended up not getting that one, right? But yeah, so I will be checking that out. I think I'm going to be doing some streaming or whatever on Twitter, I might do a little something on Twitter, but mainly I'm thinking Twitch is probably what's gonna happen. I'll stream some stuff, but hey, man, that's tomorrow. Let's talk about tonight. So we're a couple of minutes removed from an all-new Monday Night Raw. For the most part, I would say this Raw was so-so. I mean, it was an average episode. I'm not gonna come on here and I'm not gonna bitch. I know that's usually other people's cup of tea. Is just bitch, and I always try to say, look, if I'm gonna be doing that much bitching, I need to just find something else to talk about. But for the most part, I thought it was an okay episode. I really don't have too many areas where I'm shaking my fist in the air or whatnot. A couple of key points I want to get into. And you know how we do it here, man, on the RCWR Show, right? We dip into a little bit of everything here. But I did like how Raw opened up with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Great seeing him. I think for as long as Ric Flair continues to be walking on God's green earth, Flair is never gonna cut that hair. I was checking out his hair tonight, and you guys gotta forgive me because I've only been rocking my smart TV for like maybe about, I don't even think I've had it 3 months yet. I think if anything, I've probably had it a good 2 months. So, I mean, other than 4K, smart TV, especially if you got your internet connection and everything is banging and everything, like everything is so well defined. You can see, oh man, that person got too much makeup on, or hey, that person's got a scar, I didn't notice it before until. And for me, seeing Ric Flair come out, one of the first things that jumped out at me the most was his hair, and I'm going, my God, he is trying his damnedest to keep what he has left on the top of that head, isn't he? And I just couldn't help but say, man, all the money in the world, get some damn plugs already, get some minoxidil, Road Gang, hook that bad boy up. You're going to continue to push that, rocket, man. You might as well go all balls out, right? But yeah, I like how he is gelling it, slicked back and everything, but it's kind of long on the sides and everything. But yeah, man, especially when they did those close-ups, it was like, woo, it's pretty obvious. He is on that course right now. About maybe 10 more years, he ain't really gonna have to worry about no hair whatsoever, at least not around that crown area. But always a good time seeing the Nature Boy come out. I love him. Who doesn't love Ric Flair? Well, there was actually one person, believe it or not, that did not like seeing Ric Flair out there tonight. And I just immediately blocked them, because you can usually tell on Twitter, of all places, it's usually Twitter, not so much Facebook, because that's the more seasonable, more mature crowd, it seems. Even if it's people in their late teens or early 20s, it just seems like if you want more of a mature dialogue, the whole interactions and all that, it seems like Facebook definitely is still kind of that place to go to get away from all the bullshit that sometimes happens on Twitter. Whereas Twitter, you can usually see, as was the case tonight, who is just trying to let their voice be heard because they are in hopes that, oh, well, since this is getting a couple of likes or retweets, maybe I can piggyback off of that, and maybe I can kind of get some of that 15 seconds of fame or whatever, and or just trying to be a troll. So I think anybody would be in agreement. Flair was bringing the energy in that Raw opener. I loved all the cheap shots he was taking at the crowd. I love all the stuff that was going on with him, going with the whole Saudi Arabia crown jewel, promoting that. I mean, he was just hitting all those points. I love his back and forth rapport with the crowd, taking little digs at them, taking some shots at Cleveland. I was feeling all of that. It really felt like Ric Flair was given bullet points, but was told, hey, don't go too all out there. Remember, this is our first hour, and we usually have the kids watching, and they're still in school and everything, so you kind of be careful there for the way you are talking. And I think Ric Flair definitely had honored those bullet points and just really went out there and had a lot of fun. So I definitely got to give him a lot of props for that. But yeah, there was actually one person that I was aware of. I think what it really boiled down to, they didn't like the fact I was taking shots at Drew McIntyre. But then when I read their Twitter timeline, and see, I can't stand these type of people. I can't stand these type of people. You ever, tell me if this has ever happened to you on Twitter. Let's say you're talking about a movie you saw. Maybe you don't use the hashtag. Maybe you do use the hashtag for that movie that you're talking about. But you mean well. If anything, if you use the hashtag or whatever, you're just trying to let your voice be heard ultimately by the people that maybe made that movie, right? Your displeasure or how much you like the movie, right? But then all of a sudden, you'll get somebody that will just interject themselves into that post that you had put out there. Now, granted, a place like Twitter is not private, right? What you put out there, it's pretty much, it's open invitation, so to speak. But the one thing I still don't like about Twitter all these years later, right, is the people that have nothing else better to do, and they are manually looking and looking and looking and looking at what people are saying and are responding to every single person. And that was the case with this one person that just took it upon themselves. They had to take a shot at Ric Flair. They said, I don't like Ric Flair. I don't understand what the hell he's saying. AEW rules or some stupid little shit like that. And I just, before I blocked them, I just immediately, let me see what this person is about. And like their whole timeline, anybody that was saying anything good about Ric Flair, he was just taking his shot. So obviously he's got a little bit of a bone to pick with Ric Flair or whatever, but it's like I don't have time for that. For me, and I legitimately mean this, as entertaining as it was with Ric Flair opening things up, things kind of went down south once Flair had revealed who his mystery fifth person representing his team was going to be to take on Team Hogan at the Crown Jewel event, and that's Drew McIntyre. As soon as you hear those goddamn bagpipes, you're like, at least for me, it was, okay, great. And then he grabs the microphone, he starts talking. Now look, I don't have a problem with Drew McIntyre in the ring. Not an issue. As far as him in the ring goes, no issues whatsoever. But as far as the talking, less is better. So even though I kind of felt the Debbie Downer when Drew McIntyre was revealed, there was that part of me that said, okay, well, you know what? Not for nothing. At least he kept it short and sweet. So I was a little bit happy from that standpoint. We did see him in action. He took on Ricochet. That was actually a damn good opener for Monday Night Raw. Come on, it doesn't get any better than Ricochet, Drew McIntyre. That was a great back and forth match that they have. I will definitely give them that. However, I really wish that a match like this, of this type of caliber, I wish that there was some type of a stipulation that was added to it. I really, really do. Like, maybe you could have had a situation where whoever won this match, that basically, cause see, I'm trying to figure out what type of tag match are we going to get at Crown Jewel, because that really hasn't been defined yet. We know it's going to be basically a 5-on-5 tag team match, but is it an elimination tag match? Because if it is an elimination tag match, I think it would have been cool to have some type of a stipulation be added on where, like, hey, whoever wins this match, then the last person that was recruited for that respected team, they're going to be the last person to come out, they won't be able to come out for, however many minutes or something like that. I wish there would have been some type of a stipulation added to this match, right? Or maybe loser, or actually, I'm trying to back up a second. Winner of the match gets to pick the other team's partner, right? So maybe it could have been a case where, okay, say Drew McIntyre wins, right? Hey, I get to pick Team Hogan's fifth and final member. I pick Hornswoggle, right? Just to try to ensure that Team Ric Flair wins or something like that. I mean, we'd be here all night just going over different ways as far as stipulations go, how things could have been better. But when you get right down to the gist, I didn't like the fact that it was just, hey, this is almost a pay-per-view quality type of match that we're putting on free TV, and we're not even at least adding some type of stipulations to this match for even more the reason why we should give a damn about this, right? For me, that's where, 50-50. I try to look at the glass half full, but I can definitely lean more towards it was a good match for the night. Definitely a good, strong opener. I'll definitely give it the props right there. Also, OC, following up on that challenge they put out there to the Street Profits from last week. Street Profits, they would reveal they did in fact have a tag partner, somebody that does not like the OC. There's got a lot of people talking on social media. Some people are under the impression with the rumors, like how I said that, rumors of John Morrison, Johnny Nitro, Johnny Impact, Johnny Come Lately, whatever you want to call him. A lot of people were maybe under the impression it was going to be Morrison that was going to be making his presence felt on the Raw brand. And I don't blame any of you guys that were holding out hope for that. If you thought that maybe it was going to be John Morrison, and just the fact that you found out pretty much like, I want to say about 90 minutes into the show, Street Profits were going to be closing out Monday Night Raw in the main event, you're going, well, man, it's got to be a major surprise. It's maybe got to be somebody we haven't seen in quite a long time. I didn't want to say anything on social media, and maybe I should have just went ahead and put it on out there. But for me, by the time I looked at these guys coming out for that main event match, I think at this point you had about maybe almost 15 minutes left of showtime. And for me, it was, I don't think it's going to be John Morrison. I don't think it's going to be somebody we haven't seen in the go out. Because remember, we were here on this show, as a matter of fact, last week. And I had went over the names that I had went over. And I'll give myself credit. I did not even mention John Morrison. I did not. I'm sure the names I had mentioned, I had said, hey, potentially a Booker T, since there's history there, or maybe you go with a Mark Henry, or how about Big Show? Big Show is healthy, he's ready to go, like a one-shot deal or whatever. Or I also looked at it from the standpoint of, or if maybe this tag partner that comes in is going to be somebody that's going to be tagging with the Street Profits for a series of weeks until this rivalry is finally over and everything. But those were some of the names that I put out there. I never once had mentioned John Morrison, right? No disrespect to Johnny, but he just never did click in my mind. But by the time I see there was only about less than 15 minutes left of Raw, suddenly for me, seeing everybody saying it's got to be John Morrison, it's got to be John Morrison, or maybe it's going to be somebody else we haven't seen in a while, I got the vibe it was going to be KO. Because it's like, who haven't we seen yet that was drafted? And this is supposed to be the first new Raw post-draft. Okay, maybe it's Kevin Owens. So the last thing I wanted to do is come off as a Debbie Downer for some of you guys. So I kept my thoughts to myself. Hey, look, seeing Kevin Owens come out, that was great. That was great. Now, Kevin Owens wasn't necessarily their tag partner. That may confuse some of you guys. You may be like, wait a minute, clarify there. So Street Profits came out, but Kevin Owens never did come out. And that had led the OC to make fun of them and say, hey, so it looks like you don't have a third partner. Guess you couldn't find anybody, huh? So y'all were just talking a good high game. Okay, see how it is, whatever. So it ended up being a 2-on-2 tag match. AJ Styles was looking on, being a cheerleader and all that. Closing moments, he did try to get involved, try to distract the referee. It looked as though maybe OC was going to be picking up the win thanks to help from AJ. But then you cue up the music of Kevin Owens. He comes on out. AJ Styles comes running to him, hits him with a stunner and everything. Look, when it's all said and done, it's still early. It's still early. But remember what we had talked about when it was first revealed that Kevin Owens was drafted over to the Raw side of things. One of the things I had said to you guys, hey, keep your eyes peeled on this is, okay, is it potentially possible that the McMahons that are still with the company did not like what had happened with Shane, and they're going to try to extract some type of revenge on KO? So what may seem like, oh, this was a USA executive move, well, wait a minute, not so fast. You still got Stephanie and Vinnie Mac that will be showing up from time to time. So one of the things that I had pointed out was just keep your eyes peeled. You just never know. So it seems right now they're going to be taking a scenic route. And as we're seeing right now, he's getting involved with the Street Profits. And look, I think it's smart booking when it's all said and done, right? KO, Street Profits, it's a good rub off on each other. I think everybody benefits from that. More so the Street Profits, who I gotta say, they did phenomenal tonight in the main event. I did not see them flinch. They did not look nervous. I mean, man, they just really came off as if this is what they have been prepared for all of their lives, right? And they took it and they ran right through that bad boy. I couldn't be any more prouder of those guys for what they were able to do tonight. And I got to give a lot of credit to whoever it is, whether it's Paul Heyman, the bookers, whoever needs to get that credit, I'm giving them that credit, and how they have been booking the Street Profits for months now. Seeing them behind the scenes, all those segments, getting over just week by week, little by little with the WWE Universe, fans just coming on board with those guys. And then you got that connection to NXT where you're able to check them out over there. So I like how that was basically a great introduction, week after week after week, anticipation, building up the anticipation. And then finally it all leads to them having their big in-ring debut on Raw. I liked how everything was handled, and that is, for me, now I don't really see too many people talking about that, but for me, when I look at something like that, at least from WWE in 2019 and beyond, that is the type of blueprint that you really want to establish and trying to introduce new stars to your main roster, particularly those that maybe are not checking out your NXT divisions, be it American or UK, right? Or your 205 Live. That is how you properly do it. Don't just have a person randomly show up one day, have some matches that nobody is really going to give a damn about without doing that slow. It almost kind of reminded me of the vignettes and stuff that they would do back in the heyday when said wrestler is coming to the WWE, and you would just get weeks upon weeks. Sometimes it would go into a couple of months. And what they did with Street Profits, it's a perfect blueprint for how they need to do other talents they're interested in having come up on the main roster. Point being, we got another segment there with AOP, the Authors of Pain. I love what is continuing to happen with them. I love how they address the whole being drafted to Raw and everything. That was pretty clever. The whole, we were not drafted from Raw. We basically were taken from SmackDown, and try to spin it in this type of conspiracy type of fashion, right? Because everybody fears them. I love how they had spun that, and they're just continuing to talk in their native tongue and everything. Badass, just equally freaking badass. That's what I'm talking about as far as continuing to introduce talents to your flagship shows. That's how you do it. As long as you have a really great winning formula like that, you can never go wrong. A lot of people got their panties in a bunch because they saw that SmackDown, after only 3 episodes on Fox so far, they are going to FS1 this Friday night, but those people probably don't know a thing or two about baseball, so they would not have their panties in a bunch. But in case you don't know, now you know the World Series is going down this week, and looking at the schedule, one of those games is happening on a Friday. Thus, while you're not going to be getting Friday Night SmackDown on Fox, but instead you're going to be getting it on FS1. And newsflash for you people out there, with regards to your respected cable or satellite provider, if you've never ever watched FS1 before, 9 out of 10 you have FS1. 9 out of 10, that is a channel that you do not need to pay extra for most cable and satellite providers. That channel is free, so you guys actually should be okay. And if not, definitely get at me throughout social media and let me know, because I'm curious how many of you do not have access to FS1. But you all should have access to FS1, because I've been with a few cable providers over the years, and FS1, that's how long I've been checking it out. FS1 was always something I did not have to pay extra for. And I've had them all. I've had the Comcast, I've had the Verizon, I've had the RCN, and FS1 has always been available. So now when you start talking about some stuff like Epics and, shit like that, HBO, and of course you're going to have to pay extra for that type of stuff. For NFL Red Zone, you're going to have to pay extra for shit like that. Also in the house, I got to show him some love, because he's now part of the XFL team here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We had Cardell Jones, who is the new quarterback for the DC Defenders. And I have not yet gone online to see what's going on with XFL tickets. So I definitely, I can't wait. I can't wait for the XFL to come around. February 2020, right around the corner. I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to go to as many games as I can. I'm hoping the food is going to be reasonably priced and all of that good stuff, but I'm definitely going to be representing this go round. I truly believe the XFL this go round means well as far as making the game simpler, because any football fan lovers out there, y'all know we got some of these games. Was that a catch? That was a catch. He maintained possession. You're like, well, what the hell? His foot was in there. Like, what the hell? And then if it's not that, now you got this new stuff with the whole pass interference. Now those can be challenged, and sometimes it can be confusing watching these games on Thursdays and Sundays. It really can be. So I'm really hoping that you've got and I really, really hope that the XFL has been working with market research companies, and if not, you guys can definitely give me a company. Me and my firm would be more than happy to help you guys out. But I would hope that they've been getting in contact with marketing companies, market research companies, and trying to do focus groups, and trying to pick the brains of passionate football fans to find out what they don't like currently about the NFL, and how they would like to see things be improved for said XFL and everything, for a new league, and try to build upon that. The feedback is very vital. It's very, 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 very vital. If you're going to do this in mind for the fans, then you definitely need to do everything in your power to listen to the fans and make sure you're taking that feedback and using it to your advantage to make an overall really good quality product. A couple other keynotes. Look, the whole Rusev thing, I've waited patiently just to see how things were going to be handled. And I didn't want to jump on the bandwagon so early because, okay, shock, just surprise, right? The storyline, okay, so he finds out Lashley is messing around on his wife, Lana. In those first couple of weeks, you're going, okay, well, all right, that's pretty shocking. How is he going to handle this exactly? Curious minds want to know. And I would definitely agree with you guys. That's not exactly the reaction you want to have, right? It's one thing if you're suspicious, maybe something is going on with your significant other, but you're not really sure. So as a result of that, you want to try to see what evidence you can find, if there's any. But if you're not able to find any evidence, then it gets to a point where you decide, I just need to let it go. I can't find anything. There's no proof. I can have my suspicions, but unless I have proof, I kind of need to let it go for now, right? But for it to be blatantly all up in your face, I try to give this story arc a little bit of leadway, because it's okay. Maybe Rusev is just in shock. He just can't believe what's going on. But the way that this has been written and handled, I just don't like the execution of it. Now, they did kind of redeem themselves tonight. But what's been happening overall with this story arc, it's been cringe-worthy when it's all said. It really has been cringe-worthy. And the King's Court, come on, man. It doesn't get any better than the King's Court. You got Jerry Lawler there, and let's be honest, that was pretty much your Jerry Springer segment of the night there. Let's call that for what it was worth. But to have Jerry Lawler trying to get answers, trying to tap into the mindset of where Rusev is, and all of that, and then to have Lashley and Lana pop up on the Titantron, and the only thing Rusev can do is just look on in silence while his wife is feeding some dude, right? That's not the word I really want to use, but I got to keep it a little clean here. That's not the word I want to use, though. I want to use the word with an N ending in an A. I don't want to use the joint with a hard ER. I've never found any use for that one. But, that his whole reaction to that whole thing, that was just, I didn't like that whatsoever. What I wish would have happened during that segment, I really wish Rusev would have been like, Lashley, hey Lashley. I really wish he'd called him Bobby, but whatever. Lashley, get your damn hands off my woman, man. Come at him like that. And, I know you can't exactly say, I'll kill you. I know you can't do that, but where is that level of rage? Where is that level of man, my trust has been violated because my woman did this, and I've yet to see that defining moment in this story arc so far where Rusev actually confronts Lana and is basically, okay, so what is going on? What led you down this path? Because this is a 180. What did I do wrong? Is there anything I can do to rectify this? Counseling, something. Is there any way we can sit down and talk about this? And once Lana says no, I'm officially done, then I mean, come on. I mean, if we're going to go in this route, then let's be honest. In the real world, that type of conversation happens. And once that type of conversation happens and it's decided by whoever that no, it's not worth saving, this relationship is over, I'm moving on, you should move on as well, then that's how it should be. So I really wish, and this would be my challenge to the WWE writers right now. My challenge would be going forward, have a scenario set up where Rusev is trying to get answers, right? I need to see not this clean shaven, nice fine mustache Rusev. I don't need to see that right now. I need to see a Rusev whose confidence looks to be a little bit shaken. I need to see a Rusev that looks haggard, that looks like he's got an after 5 shadow. I need to see a Rusev that looks distraught. I need to see a Rusev that looks confidence-wise, he's lacking it. I need to see a Rusev that is second-guessing himself. That's the type of Rusev I need to be seeing right now. But also at the same time, I need to see a Rusev whom, whenever Lashley pops up, I mean, we could see a segment with Rusev sleeping in his freaking recliner, and he just, Rusev did, Lashley, I'm gonna kill you! I need to see something like that. I need to see a Rusev who, when he walks past a WWE truck, and he see Bobby Lashley's face on it, he takes a freaking mallet or something and he smashes that freaking face. I need to see a Rusev who, every time he goes past a Lashley cutout cardboard, he's getting ready to sit down and play WWE 2K20 with some friends and somebody plays as Bobby Lashley. I need to see him get lit, okay? I need to see him act like that and want to do nothing but bring the pain. Bring the pain to Rusev until this story arc can reach a proper conclusion. So WWE did right with that restaurant scene, getting the police involved, and okay, visually that was nice and everything. But the way you follow up on that is, if it was me, and if I'm really trying to get Lashley over even more as a heel, and Lana and Lashley, the L and L, how about that? If I'm really trying to get them over as the heels, and I'm trying to really play up Rusev being that sympathetic babyface, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, for the next couple of Raws, Rusev trying to do everything in his power to talk to Lana. And say, hey, Lana, I don't want to have, because in the real world, that's what happens. Hey, Lana, look, I don't want to have any fights with you. I'm tired of it. I just want to sit down. I just want to talk to you. I just want to know, how did we get to this point? And if there's anything that can be done to rectify the situation. If not, I understand, but I at least want you to give me an opportunity to sit down with you and we can talk about this. Will you at least give me that? Just 5 minutes of your time. That's all I really want. And you know what? Whatever happens after that, you go on with your life. I'll go on with my life. What do you say? And you can have Lana say, yeah, sure. We can go on ahead and we can sit down. We can meet up and everything. Yeah, no problem. So you have Rusev do that, right? He meets up with Lana. Who knows? Maybe it's in a lobby area. However you want to do it, right? I'll leave that up to the writers to figure out. But when it's all said and done, Lana and Lashley have basically led him to a trap. Lashley beating the crap out of him. So basically getting payback for what went down this week and everything, right? And you can honestly say, have Lana say to Rusev, you know, the reason why I'm no longer with you is because you're half the man you used to be. You're not the man that I have first met years and years ago back in NXT. You know, you're soft. You became weak, and maybe it's because of you know, this American culture. Maybe that's what got to you or whatever. But you know, I don't care. I'm with Lashley now. Okay, so once again, Rusev's heart has been stabbed. Now at this point, you can have him, okay, I need revenge. In order to have that proper closure, I get that Lana is now with this guy, but this guy kicked my ass when I was trying to sit down and have a peaceful conversation with still my wife. Okay, well, I'm done with her, but I need to at least ride out into the sunset with my head held high and get me a W. I want to face this guy. I want to have a match with him. You got to at least kind of balance it out like that. And I think until you get to that point where Rusev is trying to confront Lana, you know, then there's always going to be holes that you can pick in this. But, you know, Rusev comes off to me like, and it's not his fault. I know at the end of the day, all of them, you know, they're taking their lines from whatever the writers are giving them. But anybody that has been truly in a relationship where you've been cheated on, yeah, to say you're like feeling OJ Simpson is a understatement. Okay, you know, a lot of people, they say women come and women go and all that other shit, but when it's all said and done, when you're cheated on, oh yeah, oh freaking yeah. You know, I remember, not to put it on myself, but you know, I remember in my first marriage, I remember when I found out that my late ex-wife was cheating on me. I had my suspicions, you know, and one of the first like red flags was now all of a sudden her phone was locked. It's like, wait a minute, her phone was never locked before. What the hell is going on here? Like, that's kind of weird. Like, hey, next day, hey, your phone was locked. I was trying to make a call. You know, was everything good? Oh, yeah, it's just something I started doing because, I leave my phone in the office now, and, you know, you just don't know who's going to pick it up. And it's like, well, the only time you lock your phone is if you got contents on your phone that you don't want other people to see. So of course, that's like the first red flag. Watch her on her phone enough, I'm able to figure out what the code is. So I go on there and I see like a couple of text messages from some dude that's like, oh, honey, I miss you. Yeah, I can't wait to hear your sexy voice again. And it's like, okay. And then I see a picture of this guy's dick. And I remember I freaking confronted her the next day. And I said, hey, you know, who is so-and-so? And, you know, why is he showing you his dick? And she goes, oh, he, you don't have to worry about him. He's harmless. He's gay. He has a nice sized dick and he just like showing it to everybody. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking to myself, you know how stupid that sounds? But instead of me saying that to her, I say, I don't know of any gay people, and I've had gay friends, but like I don't know of any gay people that would just, out of the clear blue, show their bestie their dick and say, marvel at it. Isn't it a beautiful piece, baby? I don't know that, right? So I'm going, okay. She goes, oh, he just has a strong appetite. He's a freak, you know, don't mind him. Like, okay, whatever. So my suspicions was already like, I don't trust this bitch. Something's going on with this broad. What the fuck, man? And so I ended up, back in the day, we used to share our emails because sometimes we would need to log into each other's email account to maybe retrieve something from a utility bill or whatever like that. So I hadn't been in her inbox in months. And I remember I had went into her freaking email out of curiosity, and I see that same guy, I see that she had got some Greyhound tickets for him, booked a hotel, one that we would frequent a lot when we first started dating. And I waited until it got closer and closer to that date. And I made sure I had everything Xeroxed and shit. And then I bust her out. I bust her out. And rather than her say, oh my God, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to, do you like this? I'm so sorry. It was, how did you get in my email? That's what it was like. How did you get in my email? But I remember once I had the evidence, first it was suspicion and doubt. And then once I had the evidence in black and white, I got very, very upset. And but not to the point I wanted to smack the shit out of her. I'm proud to say I've never laid a hand on a woman, never. And I grew up in a situation where I watched my mom deal with an abusive boyfriend or whatever, and different topic for another time. But seeing that type of stuff, I can't. That's not right. You don't do that to a woman. So, proud to say I've never laid a hand on a woman. But I can tell you, when I found out what I found out, I was ready to hurt somebody. Preferably, I wanted to hurt this guy. And there was a part of me. I knew some friends. There was a part of me that was going to call up some dudes. And, we were going to take a couple of baseball bats or whatever, and we were going to do a stakeout in front of this hotel. And once we saw her and this dude, we was going to get the jump on him and everything, right? There was another part of me that was, well, I could, well, maybe I could get the hotel canceled. And then when they get there, they're looking like dumbasses. And then I just pop one up like Joey Greco from Cheaters, and I just bust them out right then and there. But I remember how pissed off I was. And when I confronted her, I told her how I wanted to confront that dude. Like, these writers for WWE, they are writing in such a way where, like, possibly they've never been cheated on before, because that's the one element that is truly missing from this story arc. And until you really start bending the reality like that and really connecting your dots even more, it's going to continue to look cringeworthy, and it's going to continue to look stupid when it's all said and done. Good matches tonight. I gave compliments to Ricochet and Drew McIntyre. I also got to give compliments to Sin Cara and Andrade. That was a nice little spot as well. I see, for me, one of the funniest moments, you had Humberto. Humberto was watching backstage, and he had on a very interesting outfit. Honestly, for me, he looked like the Power Ranger, the White Power Ranger from Power Rangers Ninja Storm. That's how he looked, okay? And I know that's something that had trended a lot for people. And here's the thing. I don't want some people to misconstrue this. Some people may look at this as people are bitching. I in that particular moment, I sincerely don't think people were bitching. I think when it's all said and done, people just looked at his costume. And here's the other thing that's kind of even cooler about this, right? You're seeing him in his costume, and I don't know if any of you had thought this, but the very first thing I said to myself is, why is he backstage in that costume? He better be in that costume if he has a match coming up later on in the night. Because if he doesn't have a match coming up later on in the night, then he's out there looking like a damn fool, right? Now, even though he's backstage, he's kind of looking like a fool here. So, but for me, when I saw the costume, it was, who is that guy? Why is he dressed like a Power Ranger, right? And this wasn't something, I don't think, because I saw some people saying, people were bitching. I truly don't believe people were bitching. I think people legitimately were just like, hey, the guy's dressed like a Power Ranger. It's no different than that time when Seth Rollins was dressed up like a Power Ranger. Actually, there were a couple of times he was dressed up like a Power Ranger. And it was like, I look at that more as a compliment, if anything, because it had so many of us talking. And I think the costume choice was loud when it's all said and done. Because guess what? It got us all talking about Humberto Carrillo. That's who the guy was dressed up as the Power Ranger. Okay, so just imagine if we're flipping through the channels, we're watching something else, and then we come back to USA, and when you know it, later on in the night, we see that guy that's dressed as the Power Ranger, he's getting ready to have a match. Oh, he's getting ready to fight Seth Rollins? Oh, okay, well, this should be pretty good then. Let's see what this young man can do. But I don't think this was a case where people were bitching. I really didn't perceive it that way, and I think anybody that did perceive it that way, I don't know, for me, to each its own, but everybody that I had saw that was talking about that particular moment, it was just a costume. That's all it was. And hey, look, if he decided to wear that, I think that was a smart move. I don't know if he was aware what that was going to create on social media, but the memes and all that was created, let me tell you something. When it's all said and done, that is great social media engagement. And I am a sucker for whatever it takes to get the people talking. Just get them talking about you, right? And that's exactly what had happened on social media as soon as we saw him that first go round. So I loved that later on in the night, that little cameo we saw of him, his talking segment there. I think it was with Charlie Caruso. Everything culminating into his match with Seth Rollins. I thought the kid did pretty damn good tonight against Seth Rollins. It was a great back and forth once again. And, you know, I kind of have to pick it a little bit, but I got to give WWE writers a little bit of credit, especially through what they had fed to the commentators tonight. At one point during this match between Carrillo and Rollins, Rollins looked a little bit unhinged, so to speak. Kind of looked as though he was still fighting some demons from when he last had faced Bray Wyatt and everything. And I liked how the commentators brought that up. And remember, that's something I was suggesting off and on the past couple of weeks here. And I kind of wish Seth Rollins would have lost it just a little bit during this. And maybe at some point he snapped. All he saw was Bray Wyatt. Would make a lot of sense considering he's got this match against Bray Wyatt next weekend. It really would have made all the sense in the world to unhedge the hell out of Seth Rollins. Here was another golden opportunity right here where you had an opportunity to tweak the Seth Rollins character and you didn't go there. Yeah, it just continues to amaze me and baffle me. You know, here's a great prime example. You've got a nice, good-looking kid in Humberto Carrillo. I mean, nice, good, clean-shaven looking kid. I mean, he's going to hit all the age demographics. He's going to have the teenage girls. He's going to have the young women. He's going to have the little kids. He's got all them demos with a great look like that. Great baby face, right? And yeah, you know, you have him in this match against Seth Rollins. You know, if you really wanted it to be freaking memorable, you really could have pushed that envelope with Seth Rollins and make him unhinged as fuck and really have the crowd in favor of Carrillo and kind of turn on Seth Rollins. This was a great opportunity right here, and it just kind of really makes you wonder what exactly is going to be the long-term plan for Seth Rollins, not just going into next year's WrestleMania, but post-Mania. What is the game plan? And you know, for me, it just kind of seems like maybe at this point, maybe we should entertain the idea of a heel Seth Rollins again. I'm curious how he would be as a heel this go round, but yeah, just two golden opportunities right there. You blew it! You blew it! Let's see. What else had happened? Seth Rollins, Carrillo, Rey Mysterio, Shelton Benjamin. That was a nice little interaction. I enjoyed that. Sin Cara taking on Andrade. Good matchup. Good matchup right there. Hawkins and Ryder taking on the Raiders. That was a good tag team match as well. A little bit of a bone to pick with the Hawkins and Ryder. You know, they're in this spot because remember, one of the other thing that was announced for Crown Jewel, there's going to be this epic tag team turmoil match. There's going to be 7 tag teams involved, if I remember it right. So you're basically looking at 21 participants. Hawkins and Ryder are one of those tag teams, and they were talking backstage with, I can't remember her name, forgive me. She just does not pop up on my TV enough, and she's not memorable. I can remember Charlie, I can remember Renee, I can remember Kayla, I can remember the brunette chick. I just can't remember this blonde-haired woman. I don't know what it is with that. Schreiber, whatever her name is. But anyway, and please don't remind me. I'll just figure it out once the show is over. But she's irrelevant to me, really. So, what was the point I was getting ready to make with that? Yeah, Hawkins and Ryder, they were talking with her backstage. And one of the things that they had said was, hey, maybe if we go out there, we'll get some pyro this time. So they go out there, their entrance plays, and they just walk down the ramp and they go into the ring. I had a bone to pick with that, because if they had said, hey, maybe when we go out there, we'll finally have some pyro, I really wish that they would have. And I said this on social media, by the way. As soon as the segment went down and they were on their way down the ramp, I immediately had tweeted this out. But I would have done that differently. I would have had them come out, play up to the crowd, gesturing to them and everything, looking at their graphics on the Titantron and all that other stuff. And then I would have had one of them or both of them, roll up their hands and, go like that, like hand gesturing. Where's the pyro? Where's the pyro? No pyro. And then they're just waiting for it. And they're left hanging out there like dumbasses. And then they realize there's not going to be any pyro for you tonight. Then they kind of put their heads down and they go, to the freaking ring and they do their match and everything. That was another missed opportunity right there. They got to straighten that up. They inadvertently may have something kind of going there for Hawkins and Ryder with the whole promo, with the whole pyro thing for Hawkins and Ryder. That would be kind of interesting, because that's inadvertently a nice running gag that you can have, right? Hey, how come we never get pyros? It's like, well, I don't know, right? And it's a mystery of how come they don't get pyros. What's going on with the pyros? And you could almost kind of borrow a line from Glenn Ross, where Alec Baldwin says, these are the new Glengarry leads, but you do not get them. They're for closers. Maybe you can kind of spin that in a way on Ryder and Hawkins, and you say pyro is for champions, right? Maybe you could say something along those lines. But no, overall tonight, I would say Raw was fairly decent. Few areas you could definitely poke some holes at, but overall, I thought it was a decent episode. I want to take this time out, and I want to recognize some show sponsors. Rather than play all the ads, what I want to do is just run off them. I actually want to read it off to you, and in post-production we can actually run their actual ads and everything. But I want to get into some sponsor shout outs. I also want to get into some Patreon shout outs. Shout out to those of you that's checking out the broadcast live right now. Appreciate that as always. Hey, tonight's edition of the RCWR Show is brought to you in part by DC's own over here. I gotta show them some mad love. The law office of Ryan Quinn. DC is known for its politics, monuments, and its car accidents. Yes, folks, lots of car accidents in the DC metropolitan area. The law office of Ryan Quinn specializes in motor vehicle accidents in the DC and Virginia areas. Call the law office of Ryan Quinn today at area code 703-457-1300 for a consultation, or you can check them out on the web at rquinnlaw.com. That's spelled RQUINNLAW.com. Accidents happen. Ryan Quinn's firm is there to make it right. The law office of Ryan Quinn, specializing in motor vehicle accidents in the DC and Virginia areas. Give his office a call at 703-457-1300 for a consultation, or check out the web, rquinnlaw.com. Appreciate them for being a sponsor of tonight's episode of the RCWR Show. Also, I want to give a shout out to a really cool artist by the name of Ariel Digit. Once in a blue moon, I love kicking back and I love hopping on Bandcamp and listening to all types of undiscovered music. I'm a big fan for the independent stuff, right? What really gets me going is good instrumental shit, some good hip hop, some good jazz, experimental, all that type of stuff, right? Well, I came across Ariel Digit. This guy is pretty badass. The way I could describe his music to you, basically think experimental, think new wave, think acid rock, think punk rock, think early Depeche Mode, early Cure, early Nirvana, Trent Reznor, early Nine Inch Nails. I mean, the newer stuff that Nine Inch Nails has out there now, it's pretty damn good, but nothing beats classic Nine Inch Nails. I would say Aerial Digit is right in that realm. When you add it all up, put it in that pot and stir it all, you get Aerial Digit. So his stuff, check it out, pretty badass. He has a new track that's out. It's called Drugs and Alcohol. And again, it's on Bandcamp. You can find him a couple of ways. I'll include the links in the episode description and post-production for you guys. They'll be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. But you can also just go to the Bandcamp website, and they got their search bar. You can type in Ariel, A-R-I-E-L, hit that space bar, Digit, D-I-G-I-T. And as soon as you type him in, he's going to be the first guy that pops up. It's a white guy with a black hat, has on I think a black blazer or something like that. You'll know him when you see him, but you click on it, you'll be able to see his catalog, all of that stuff. Great music. Check him out. He is a sponsor for tonight's episode of the RCWR Show. Another sponsor we want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Leafy Legal Services. Hit them up on leafyassets.com. Again, leafyassets.com. If you are a real estate investor or if you are an entrepreneur, look, man, it could be pretty tough these days with regards to starting your own business. You want to make sure that you got your business up on the right foot and you are off to the races. Well, my good friends over at Leafy Legal Services, they can help you succeed in all of those things. Whether you are a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they make sure that you have all the necessary tools that you need through their services and having a successful run. So definitely give them a holler, leafyassets.com. Check them out. Also, shout out to Julian Shabazz. I told him I was going to promote him again. And my friend, I am honoring that. I'm sorry we're not able to cover Bound for Glory. I was so late getting in from PA that sadly I was pretty exhausted by the time I got in. But shout out to Julian Shabazz. Julian Shabazz, he has been writing, this is wrestling related for you guys. He has been writing volumes of black pro wrestlers, like just from the 19th century to present. And he's got a third edition that had came out just a couple of weeks ago. Check it out when you guys get an opportunity. You all definitely will not be disappointed in that. It's on Amazon.com and it only costs $15.95. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe what he has is, give me a second here, and I can actually tell you. Hang on a second. I can actually tell you. It's available in trade paperback for $15.95. And the name of the book that you guys want to look for is, let's see if I got it here. Yeah, I think it's called Black Professional Wrestlers. Now, I don't have the link in front of me. I humbly apologize. I was on a good roll too, man. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I'll say Black Professional Wrestlers, and I'll just say book, and I should be able to find it that way. Nah, so let's try Julian Shabazz. We should be able to find it that way. Black Stars of Professional Wrestling. I was kind of close. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Check that out. Black Stars of Professional Wrestling. It is the third edition. It is by Julian Shabazz. $15.95 on Amazon.com. Great dude. We're actually staying in contact with each other. That's a book I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm actually going to be checking that out myself. And it's very possible that in the near future, we actually may have Julian come on to the show. So for those of you that maybe want to brush up and everything, check it out. You know, it's got great images. You got nice, fun backstories. stuff that you probably never even knew. Julian really takes his time out to do all the proper research and everything. So check that out when you guys get a chance. Appreciate him. Also, shout out to the good, kind folks behind the movie President Evil. Check that out. It is on Amazon right now. You can see the trailer and buy the movie from Amazon. And I'm telling you, if you guys like comedy and you like politics, that's definitely something you need to check out. Just days before the November midterm elections, 3 young girls who are Muslim, Mexican, Haitian are stalked by a deranged killer dressed as the President of the United States. Once again, check out the trailer, buy the movie on Amazon.com. Shout out to my good friends over at SHEABoo.com for all natural best skincare products, all made from natural organic oils and shea butter. Truly the best vegan skincare products. Appreciate all of those sponsors. Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to Joey L. Dowdy. We also gotta give a mad shout out to him. Joey L. Dowdy. He is a former choreographer and a Los Angeles fitness motivator. Get this, he was a choreographer for the Backstreet Boys and Take 5. So you guys that know your bands, yeah. He has a great self-help book. And the gist of it, if you've been down for too long, if you lost your life's rhythm and you need to get it back on the beat, his book, Rise to the Rhythm, demonstrates how you can get out of that rut and groove to improve your life. You learn about how to make a move and see change happen, how to kick your confidence into high gear, how to groove beyond fear, how to snap to it, feel it, and attract what you want, how to whistle while you work and work to it, all of that good stuff. So you can check him out. He's got a website, joeyldowdy.com. You can get all the information for his book and all that, which is on Amazon as well as our good friends over with the movie President Evil. So appreciate all of these great sponsors. We'll get into some Patreon shout outs in just a little bit. You know, the reason why we mention these names, you know, I know for some people it can sound a little bit redundant when we mention some of these sponsors and we mention some of these Patreon members, but I want you guys to understand something. All of these guys collectively, these guys on every single show will get that nod because they make it possible for shows like what you're checking out right now made possible. Anything show related, you know, there's a lot of stuff, show expenses, equipment, travel equipment especially, which thank God I was able to have some of it when I did the wild recap from Saturday in PA. If we're trying to do maybe some contests from time to time or what have you, our Patreon members and our sponsors, they do their best in working with us, and we do our part in, you know, making them happy as best as we can, especially our Patreons. But we treat both the Patreons and the sponsors equally. You know, that's why I don't care how redundant it may sound, how irritating it may sound for some guys that hear me go through these lists of people. But that's why we do it, you know, because we respect them and we appreciate their kind contributions. I'm not trying to say that to make you guys that maybe don't come out of your pockets and you don't support us on Patreon or anything like that. I'm not saying that to belittle you guys in any type of way. So please don't take it like that. But, you know, these guys, anything show expense related, you know, they really come through and they help us out. So for that, we are always forever in their debt and we are forever in their gratitude. So, a couple of more topics we can get into on tonight's show here. We're just about an hour into the show. You got to forgive me if I'm kind of not usually interacting with you guys like normal. I am kind of seeing what you guys are saying in the chat. I'm just kind of trying to power through this as quick as possible because sadly I took some melatonin right before the show hit. It's some new melatonin too. So, I'm going to be going out. I'm fighting it, but I'm going to be going out pretty soon. So before I start slurring my words and all that shit, I want to just power through here. So, in some wrestling little news and some non-wrestling related news, Casey Canizaro looks as though she may be done with the WWE. Remember, we had talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And Ricochet, he's kind of shed a little bit of light, but not really shed any light on it. And respectfully so, because it is her story to tell, not really his to tell, even though they are an item and everything. Remember back in September, you had the reports floating around that she was possibly going to be leaving the WWE and wrestling altogether, whether it's permanent or it's temporary, who knows. But you had a report coming back in September that she was possibly going to be leaving wrestling for now due to a back injury. It was also reported that she was still under contract to the WWE, but she hasn't been used in quite a long time. And now when you look up her profile on the WWE.com page, and I had actually checked this out just about maybe 3 hours ago. So you try to go to the link that would normally be a landing page for her profile. Now it is no longer there. Now you get this weird message that says the page you are trying to access is restricted, something along those lines. So yeah, I will tell you guys just like this, because I know this is going to make the rounds on other podcasts and all that. I would just say, just take a step back, just wait it out. Sometimes WWE has done stuff with profiles and all that just to get people talking, because they know there's people that will actually be looking at that type of stuff, and it gets everybody into a frenzy and right. But what I will say to you all is no different than what I had said some weeks back, which is give her time, give her space. When she is ready to talk about what exactly is going on with her head as far as wrestling is concerned, as far as WWE, just pro wrestling in general, when she is ready to talk about it, then that's her decision to make. Ricochet, he did his part. I know one thing he did say was, they have talked about kids, and she is kind of at that point where she would like to settle down and have kids. And so I don't know, I don't want to speculate on that, but that is her story to tell when the timing is right. So let's just continue to respect her space, her privacy, and when she feels she's ready to tell that story, then we can all kick back together and talk about whatever it was that she did have to say. Speaking of people that have their own story that need to be told, probably one of the biggest pieces of news that had a lot of people talking last week, and we were just a couple of days off the air when this had went down, but that's Eric Bischoff being released by the WWE. This had a lot of people in the frenzy, right? A lot of people wondering what the hell was going on with Eric Bischoff, and shout out to Matt Coon, by the way. Matt Coon, I remember reading something he had posted reacting to the news, and I remember saying to him, there's one side of the story, there's another, and then there's that middle, which is the absolute truth. We're sadly never really going to know what had happened here with Eric, but it would still be nice to know exactly, from his perspective at least, what had went down. And I remember Matt had countered right back, and he said, I've never been able to find the truth in the middle for as long as I've lived, or something along those lines. And it made me raise an eyebrow, because I never did kind of look at it like that. I've always said what I said for all these years with regards to one side, the other side, middle is the truth. And for him to come in with that nice counter, it was, I never did really consider that. But yeah, I liked how everybody was just in a frenzy. You had all the websites with their clickbaiting. You had all the podcasts. I mean, look, would it have been easy for me to fire up something, doing a YouTube clip and subscribe? Yeah, that would have been easy. But like, what I care more about, especially as I get older, and I found this as I've gotten older and older. I've done this show since 2011. And the older I get, the more wiser I get, to the point when it comes to reporting news, before I'm ready to even talk about it, I want to marinate, and I want to try to gather up as much information as humanly possible. And if I can get that information from direct sources and not just report, but add my trademark classic insight that you all have come to appreciate and respect, I would rather do that, right? I would. Now, once in a blue moon, I'll give you guys some first gut instinct thoughts on something if something is breaking. But I these days, I usually like to say I need a little bit more information to come in before I can really just go all balls out on it. But I had a lot of people talking last week about Eric Bischoff being released by WWE. He was no longer one of the executive heads there for SmackDown. Bruce Pritchard basically replacing him and everything. Well, he did do his 83 Weeks podcast, and he provided details on why he was suddenly let go by the WWE. He noted that leaving WWE, he is leaving with a positive outlook, noting that it was simply an opportunity that didn't work as he had hoped. And let me just read to you some quotes here, and I'll definitely chime in my 2 cents from a distance. I'm not going to spend too much time clearing the rumors and innuendo because it's out there, and I think people are smart enough to see through the bullshit that they read in dirt sites and that kind of thing. I honestly just don't want to get negative. I'm going to say a couple of things, and I will have more to say at some point in time. Pause right there. As far as at some point in time, Starcast in November. Starcast 4, I think him and Conrad, I would not be surprised if they did a special live 83 weeks where they reveal a lot more about what went down with Eric at WWE. I just my 2 cents from a distance. I would not be surprised. Look out for that. I was really grateful for the opportunity to work for WWE, and it was an opportunity. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out, and it clearly didn't work out the way Vince McMahon wanted it to work out. But it happens. I'm not taking any of it personally, professionally. I'm taking a hard look at it and thinking it through. But more than anything, I am grateful for the opportunity. Part of the reason that I am is because I had a chance to work with a great team of people, the writing staff on SmackDown in particular, as well as some of the writers on Raw. They are very talented and unbelievably hardworking and dedicated group of people. Just to have the opportunity to work with people like that in itself was worth the experiment. Now, he did admit that he never saw the job being something long term, like 5-10 years. He thought for sure he was going to be able to do 2 to 3 years at most. Okay. And I quote, I didn't come here to Stamford, Connecticut thinking I would be working for WWE for 5 to 10 years. I looked at it as a relatively short-term opportunity, meaning 2 to 3 years. I didn't think it was going to be quite this short-term, but sometimes that happens. WWE is a great company with a very defined culture and process, and I find it necessarily, and I find, wait a minute, let's back up a second. WWE is a great company with a very defined culture and process, and I necessarily did not fit into it, and that is just the way it is. I'm not sad, I'm not disappointed or angry. I'm not any of those things. I am just looking forward to the next opportunity wherever and whenever that may be, and digging the idea of packing up the truck and heading back to Wyoming. So all in all, I'm very positive. All right, well, more power to you. I have nothing but great things to say about the people at WWE and the company as a whole. It is an amazing company. I've said this even before I went back there. From the production team and everybody I came into contact with is not only incredibly talented, but hardworking and extremely dedicated to the work that they do. So I was grateful and am grateful to have been a part of the opportunity, to have been a part of it, even for a short time. And of course, he addressed the rumors about Bruce Pritchard being named his replacement. First of all, I've stayed away from social media because I know the kind of digital diarrhea that exists there at a time like this. But this is the first that I am hearing about a narrative like that that is out there. And just to doubled down on all of that. You had rumors of WWE hired Eric Bischoff just to fire him again. Eric Bischoff was incompetent. He wasn't, he wasn't doing certain meetings. He was unavailable at certain times. Yada 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 yada. So that type of diarrhea he's responding to, right? But this is the first that I am hearing about a narrative like that is out there, and if it is, I think it is a perfect example that if there is anything out there that suggests that Bruce and I are anything but the best of friends and that I am fully supportive of him, I think that defines bullshit, Eric stated. And as I said, digital diarrhea that the dirt sheets and douchebags that write them to live off of, because nothing can be further from the truth. As a matter of fact, and I know you, Conrad, know this because when Lori Bischoff and I went to Bruce and Stephanie's house last night for dinner, as they were moving into their new house, and I think Bruce took a picture and sent it to you, Conrad, after dinner. But that is such nonsense. Bruce Pritchard is probably the reason why I got the opportunity in the first place. I can tell you that Bruce had nothing to do with this. Was the decision that Vince McMahon made based on whatever went through his mind. And I am 1,000% sure that anything Bruce Pritchard said had nothing to do with that. Bruce is one of my closest friends and is going to remain as one of my closest friends. Anybody that suggests otherwise should look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves why they feel they have to do what they have to do as they spread these rumors that I'm going to call straight up dirt sheet bullshit. Because if you feel the need to have to do that kind of thing and affect other people's lives, then there is absolutely no basis in truth for it. You are kind of a fucked up individual. He may have edited himself. I won't edit him. I know I said that I didn't want to get negative, but that is the kind of thing others do when people wonder why I feel so strongly about the dirt sheets. And joking earlier and passively calling it rumor and innuendo, that rumor and innuendo has an impact on people's lives. In this case, the fact that people are saying these things about Bruce doesn't impact my life because it doesn't change the way I feel about Bruce. And another key little bullet point, he refuses to let this untimely end with WWE slow him down. He's immersing himself back into a big project he started prior to getting hired by the company. He also plans to take his wife and their dog down to Clearwater, Florida for the holiday season so they can spend time with their family and everything. So yeah, I'll read that part to you here. Actually, let me see. How much more is this? Okay, there's not really that much. Let me skim through it here. Yeah, kids. WWE gig, no regrets. I didn't know he'll take any advantage from the experience, new friendships, co-workers, memories, working alongside Vince McMahon himself. This part I will read to you and then I'll give you my 2 cents here. Yep, no regrets, none whatsoever. There is a reason why I hate to talk about this stuff because I don't want to give people the wrong impression. But when I took this job, I knew what the odds were of it being a long-term job for me. And let me just say it this way. I am not surprised. I am disappointed. I would have liked to have met Vince McMahon's expectations and would have liked for it to be a longer run than it was. I would be completely dishonest if I didn't admit that, but at the same time, I am not completely surprised either. I went into it with my eyes wide open and knew what the challenges would be like, and like I said, it didn't work out. But yes, I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. I may have a different view of it coming in if it was a complete do-over. Not that I would want that opportunity because I think it worked out for the best for a lot of reasons. But like I said, my overwhelming feeling is a positive one, which I know is going to sound weird for a lot of people. But between the relationships that I've developed and the people that I met and the opportunities to work as closely with Vince as I did, as I said a few weeks ago, he is a fascinating guy. He doesn't have all the answers and is not going to be correct 100% of the time. He is intense and is a lot of things, but not the least of which he is fascinating. To have the opportunity with him was worth the trip. All right, so that's Eric Bischoff in a nutshell. All right, so 2 cents from a distance with regards to this. First off, now you understand why I tell you guys, since I've been doing this show since 2011, the older and older that I get, the more wiser I get, and that when it comes to stuff that you're reading and hearing from websites and you know, the dirt sheets and all that, you always, what do I always tell you guys? Take everything that you're seeing and hearing with a grain of salt. There's no better source than that direct source, right? And now, granted, sometimes you can't take to the bank and cash it, whatever that source is putting out there. I think you have to put an asterisk by it, and it has to be, well, who is that source exactly, and can we really trust that to the point we can take it and cash it? Like, seriously, right? And I want to just, this isn't about me, but I want to tell you a mini story that connects exactly to what Eric Bischoff had went through. And I know that for a majority of our audience out there, because I know as far as the age demographics, a lot of you guys like 18 to 44 range. So this story, not so much our younger cats, but our folks I want to home in on that's basically 25 to 44. They may have a story like this, what I'm getting ready to tell you guys. Okay. So where I've been working at my market research firm, I've been working there almost 10 years, right? And I've let it be no secret that I'm very interested in moving up in the company. Whatever new opportunities are on the horizon, I'm there. I want to take advantage of those opportunities. So there was an opportunity that had presented itself a couple of months back. And this was working in a completely different department. Everything still ties to market research, but it was tied into a different department, and it was their IT department, to be more specific, right? Now, when it comes to IT stuff, if I were to personally grade myself, honestly, I would say I am intermediate. I would not say I'm an expert. Other people may say I'm an expert because of what all I know, but I would say I'm intermediate, right? But I'm the type of intermediate, if you take me under your wings and you basically treat me like an apprentice, then yeah, I would shine with the right teachings, right? So a position had opened up in IT, paid more. I was very interested in it. And I let my voice be heard. I told my supervisor. My supervisor had pulled some strings. The next thing you know, they had tried me out. We did training for about, I want to say, 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks of training that we did. Now, the job was not mine. What was told to me was, we'll get you in on the training, and you're pretty much going to be on standby, because I had heard that the way it was looking for one of the people that worked in that department, they were pretty much on their way out the door. They really did not have the heart to fire this said individual, but they felt it was going to be getting to that point because they did not like the productivity that they were getting from this individual. This individual was always calling out, and they were extremely slow in their production. So finding out I was interested in working in their department, I've already have the rapport with them because they've all known me for years. Now it was just about taking me under their wing and showing me what all needed to be done and everything. And one of the things that had pissed me off was I remember at one point, one of the people that was training me, nice guy, I love him, he's cool. But I remember he took the mouse away from the computer and he was like, pretend there's no mouse. I'm like, dude, I grew up on a mouse since I first started using computers. Like I need my mouse. He's like, nah, you don't, you don't need your mouse. All you need to do is just remember these functions. And so I'm moving slower as a result, right? I'm saying that for a reason. Remember that. So I would get these little things and it was like, okay. And I'm the type of person, if you give me new software and you expect me to learn that software, I'm the type of person that's going to say to you, okay, I like this software. I can learn a lot better if you could hook me up with a copy of this that I can have on my computer and I can get even sharper with it. You know, can you hook me up? They didn't have the hookup for that. They were like, there's another program you can get. It's kind of just as similar, blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right, cool. I'll check it out. So after about 3 weeks, it got less and less and less that they needed my help. And it got less and less as far as the training goes. You know, that first week, I was getting training like every day. And then the second week, it was kind of like, not today. Not today. You know, and then eventually, after I would say grand total, like a month and a half later, the guy who was showing me the whole, yeah, you don't need your mouse, his dad basically had the final say in who they wanted to work in their department. So I come into work one day and the dad is doing interviews. So I go to his son and I say, hey, you know, your dad's doing interviews, really? I was like, yeah, that's news to me. I thought for sure you were going to be the guy helping us out. I'm like, yeah, like, what the hell? So I ended up talking to my supervisor and finding out, you know, what the heck had went down. And basically, I got a compliment, but there was constructive feedback. And the positive was very thorough, pretty accurate. You know what you're doing. You have the confidence. Your speed is slow. It's like, yeah, my speed is slow is because you guys are teaching me a whole new thing. And then you're telling me I can't do this. I got to do it this way. It's like, that's going to take a little bit of time. So essentially, they were looking for somebody that could just come in there but rather than the dad pull me to the side, because I've already had the rapport with him. I worked alongside him when he was a project manager. I worked with him long before he even went into the IT department. But rather than the father behind closed doors, man to man, friendly chat, say to me, what's going on? And if anything, give words of encouragement. I'm not telling you guys anything different that I had said to my supervisor. I said, you know, how can a person try and move up in the company if you're not at least out of common courtesy telling them in what areas they need to try and improve in, right? So I tell you this story because when I look at Eric Bischoff, this was a great, sounds like a really fun and fascinating opportunity that had presented itself to Eric Bischoff. And on paper, you're going, yeah, he'd be great for this. He'd be perfect for this. This is right up his alley. And I'm sure, I would like to believe, and one of these days, I hope it does happen. I remember telling Eric Bischoff on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and he replied back to me and everything. He was like, you're on. I remember several months back, I said something like, next time you guys are in Baltimore, I gotta just kick back and, you know, have a drink with you. You know, beer is on me. You know, whatever you're drinking, it's on me. I want to just shoot the shit with you and talk anything wrestling, non-wrestling related. And Eric was like, you're on. I'll take you. I'll take you for that. I would like to believe that Eric honestly looked at that new position much like I looked at that position in IT and was like, okay, this might be a little bit above my head. I might not fully grasp this. I might not fully know what I'm doing, but I'm going to go into this bad boy. I'm going to try to learn as much as I can. if I'm going to ask all the right questions, I'm going to be a hard worker, I'm going to prove my value, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure he went in with that same mindset like I did with that position I was trying to go in. And sadly, it sounds like what ended up happening for Eric was, however the pace was that Eric was learning what he was learning, however methods Eric was using to do the work that needed to be done, it sounds like when it's all said and done, one Vince McMahon had issues with it and ultimately decided they were going to go in a different direction. It's no different than ultimately what the guy's dad decided to do with me, and instead finding, you got to learn how to not take it personal. And I remember I was pretty upset for a bit, but then once I kind of calmed down more, I legitimately had to say to myself, was I really ready for that position? No, I had no business being in that position, and there was just no way I was going to get that type of leeway where I was going to be given so much rope for hands-on training, that much patience, and what I was trying to learn and all that. And, no, just no. So you look at a guy like Bruce Pritchard, a man that is very familiar with the WWE product, spent how many decades working for the WWE, and then even when he finally parted ways with the WWE, be it temporary, folks, he went to another company, and at that time TNA, going into Impact Wrestling, and essentially was doing what he was doing in the WWE. And right, so he was always involved in, okay, I know how to do this, I know what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. So for him to ultimately slide into that position, what may seem like, oh man, this is some shady bullshit, this is that, this is this. I never once believed this shit about Bruce Pritchard backstabbing the hell out of Eric Bischoff, and I never did believe that. You know why? Because long before Bischoff even doubled down on his relationship with Pritchard, I remember, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I remember some months back, Conrad Thompson successfully was able to get like a little tour thing going on where 83 weeks and something to wrestle with had combined. And they were doing photo ops and all that shit. Now, they weren't, if I remember it right, I remember two things, and my memory's a little bit fuzzy, so I'll have to rely on you guys. Either they did a couple of dates, they were supposed to do more, but then Bruce worked things out with WWE, and he pretty much had went back, and then the remaining dates, those were pretty much axed as a result. Who wouldn't be upset at that? Because that's missed money that's on the table right there. And okay, now you gotta re-strategize, you gotta regroup and everything, right? But I remember something like that coming about, and I was like, wow, so Conrad, Bruce, and Eric, they're all going on tour together. Okay, these guys, duh, like, we should have known something like this was going to happen. But I remember hearing back then how tight Eric and Bruce were with each other. So, it's look, I know Eric doesn't like what he's reading, and he doesn't understand why. It's simple, Eric, my friend. It is simple. And you know this because you did that great speech at TED Talks, what was it, 2 years ago? So you know this very well. What these dirt sheets and podcasters, what they are ultimately trying to do, it is all about clickbait. It is all about generating those hits. It is all about getting the clicks. It is all about that monetization. It's all about doing whatever they need to do to get that traffic to their brand or wherever it is they're trying to get it to. And even if they don't have shit right, just the fact that they got that traffic, that's what it's all about for them, right? So I wish we could be in a day and age where, people are doing nothing but trying to report the facts, nothing but the facts, and stay to that. But you can pretty much forget about that shit. That's something that just, and it is sad. It legitimately is sad because the biggest victims that come out of it is not just guys like Eric and everybody else who, you know, are the victims involved. Aside from them, the people that are doing it right are the biggest victims. Notice in that whole story, not once did you maybe hear a podcast or a respected website put out a statement saying, hey, try to verify this story that was spun on Eric Bischoff, but Eric had declined to comment, to give an interview, just so he can get his side of the story out there. That's the type of day and age that we're in. I'm telling you, and I love the infamous Shawn Michaels story. I remember we interviewed Shawn Michaels a couple of years back, and I remember there was one question I asked him towards the end of that interview. I asked him about the whole, hey, if Triple H asked you to come out of retirement so you could give him his one final match, this is basically his retirement match, and he wants you to be the final opponent, would you do it? I remember asking him that, because for me, that seemed like a question that had never been asked of Shawn before. If it had been asked, I wasn't aware of it. And I remember the original statement that Shawn had put out there. And I'm paraphrasing here because it's been so long since I've gone back and read the transcript and listened to the interview. But I remember Shawn saying something along the lines of, I don't think it's going to come to that point, given where I am and where Hunter and everybody else is. But I'm always willing to listen. I'm always willing to be there to help out my friend, whether it's an ear, whatever I can do to help him out. I remember him being very proactive towards Triple H and the WWE and everything. And I remember some dickish freaking website. I remember they took that last part of that conversation, omitted it. And what they put in its place was Shawn Michaels saying that he's not sure that would happen because he and Triple H, Vince McMahon and crew, they're not on speaking terms right now. It's been a strained relationship for some years now, and he's not sure what the problem is. I'll see if I can find the original article that was put out there. And I remember that shit had spread it like wildfire. And I'm like, and I remember I emailed all the websites that were running that story, because it ended up being a copy and paste type of bullshit. And I remember calling them out on their bullshit. Rather than say, well, so sorry about that, we'll put the correct story out there ASAP, no problem. It was, well, why are you yelling at us? It's like we just copied it from another site. And I immediately countered right back and I said, and you didn't think it to have enough common sense to listen to the interview, which was only 11 minutes long? You couldn't listen to an 11-minute clip, mainly of Shawn Michaels talking, and hear for yourself that, wait a minute, that's not matching up to this transcript highlight. This is bogus. Like, seriously. It was just so, unfortunately, you've got some dirt sheets out there. They are all about stirring the fucking pot. That's what it's all about for them. It's all about stirring the pot, getting those clicks, getting that buzz attention and all that. And I gotta tell you, I think ultimately that and the Tyson's Corner book appearance that Shawn Michaels did when I did the review for it, I think those two things is what ultimately had made Shawn say, fuck the RCWR show. He doesn't have a problem with my personal account, or accounts rather, but as far as the RCWR show goes, he's, yeah, fuck Lee Sanders. Fuck his show, but, so yeah, when I say to you guys, you gotta take the shit that you see and hear with a grain of salt. This is a prime example of what the fuck I'm talking about. And I don't know, we got that StarCast 4 coming up in November. I may go, and if I do go, I owe Eric Bischoff a drink or two. So I'm hoping maybe I can make it happen. We'll see what happens. I'll actually have to remind him and and see if he's still down. Got some other wrestling related news I want to get into. Hey, the AAA promotion, they had an event over the weekend. It was their AAA Heroes Immortales 13 event. Mentioning this because someone from AEW had won a championship there. So your quick results here, and this had went down Saturday night in Mexico, in Orizaba, Veracruz, Mexico. You had Drastic Boy, Lady Shani, or how the hell do you pronounce that one? Or Octagonico and Pimpinella Escarlata defeat Australian Suicide, Demis, Mamba, and Michael Nakazawa. You had a AAA World Tag Team Championship match. Lady Maravilla and Valino III Jr. They defeated Big Mama and Nino Hamburguesa and Kira Latigo. You had the AAA Latin America Championship. Dega defeated Drago to win the title. Then Danasia, Octagon Jr. and Puma King defeated Negro Jr., Ariz, and Superfly. You had Copa Antonio Pena match. That was El Hierro del Vaquino defeat Arrow Star and Dave the Clown, and Fabi Apache and Iron Kid, and La Hydra and La Parca Negra and Laredo Kid, I apologize, Laredo Kid and Monster Clown and Murder Clown and Taurus and Triton. That's a lot of names you got to remember there, folks. I'm getting a little bit better with my Spanish here. I'm working on it. Also, NWA. One main match that came from out of that, by the way. Kenny Omega. He had won the Mega Championship. So, curious if he's going to be bringing that title with him to Wednesday's AEW Dynamite show. Wait and see on that one. NWA, they had announced that they've officially sold out their December pay-per-view titled Into the Fire. They announced that December 14th event tickets sold out. The only way to see it now is only on Fight TV. By the way, congrats to NWA. Their NWA Power is now going to be seen on Fight TV. You don't have to pay to see that whenever it's on demand. Boom. Like if it's available Thursdays at a specific time or just ASAP Thursdays, you'll be able to hop on, and whatever day that they've worked it out with Fight TV, it's going to be on there. And that's great. You know, the more outlets that they can have, the better. I know we got some people that are taking shots at NWA because you guys don't have the type of power that AEW has with TNT, and I wish people were not nitpicking like that, right? Because these are the type of people I'm talking about, right? And what I mean by that is, if you're a pro wrestling fan, you should truly be loving wrestling from any promotions. It should not just be, and I would like to believe that with the RCWR show, I know in the previous years we were very pro WWE, but even way back then, we still branched off and poked our head into what was going on with other promotions. But I definitely would have to say within the past, it really feels like in the past 2 years, more so 3, we've really tried to be more, all right, let's really expand out there and everything. And, you know, true wrestling fans are not going to take shots at NWA and all that other shit. Because, see, taking shots at NWA, you're also taking and disrespecting the history of a promotion like NWA. Guys like the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, guys like Ric Flair, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Jerry Lawler, Harley Race. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on of legends that have come through that promotion, right? And I'll be the first to tell you, there was a period of time where NWA, before Billy Corgan had got involved, there was a time where the NWA was just a joke. It like did not exist. I remember early on. When in my podcasting career, there was a guy by the name of Rich Love. I'll never forget that guy because he had worked down in NWA Florida. And I remember early on he wanted to partner up with me because he was interested in me doing strictly a NWA podcast. And that NWA podcast was going to be covering all things NWA Florida. And it was a nice little arrangement as far as the early negotiations had went. He was going to get me access to the library, old library and the newer library, so I would know who is who when we were getting ready to do interviews and everything. Everything sounded really good. He was even going to get me some cards set up, all of that stuff. And I remember, telling my girl about it back then. She's like, all this sounds pretty good, but what's going on money wise? Is money going to be involved in this? Are you getting a check for this? And I'm like, I'm not really sure. That's a really good point. And that was probably one of the last things that we really did not iron out and everything. But it just kind of seemed like the longer and longer that I had spoke with him, it seemed like he was running bullshit, right? He was just talking bullshit. And I'll never forget, I remember he had said something along the lines of, we need to get traffic on your page, on your Facebook page. See if we can get you some more followers and everything. That way we can really try to magnify the second coming of NWA Florida and everything. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. Let's do it. And I still get a little bit affected by it to this very day, but it turned out he had bought a whole bunch of fake bots for my Facebook page. And I thought for sure these were real people, right? I didn't even know you could buy fake bots back then. I didn't even know that shit had existed. And I remember how one day it's like, God, I think at one point when I woke up, I think the Facebook page had like 7,000 likes and 7,000 followers. And you're like, holy shit. Like, and it went from basically like 1,000 to that. And you're like, wait a minute. And the 1,000, that was my hard work. And it was like, what the fuck? And so then I started seeing, after a couple of weeks, 10 are gone one day, 50 are gone the next day, 150 are gone the day after that, and you get the gist. And that's when it was like, okay, this guy is doing some shady shit. And then nothing was materializing. He was like, oh, I'm going to get you some business cards. Never happened. So once I realized this guy was a facade, it was kind of like, fuck you. And if you truly are representing the NWA and these are the shady little tactics that you're using, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Like, fuck you, right? And I remember a couple of years afterwards, once in a while, this guy would try to keep tabs on me and see what was going on with me. And I remember one day I shut him the fuck down. I said, dude, I was like, you fucked my Facebook page up so bad. I was like, it took me years to get that residue stench that you applied to it off. It's like, now I've got legit people, now I'm coming out of my own pocket and running ad campaigns to get real people. And it's all set up by Facebook to get real people that are into the wrestling and all that to engage the page, interact and all that other shit. And I told him, I said, I don't have anything else to do with you. Like, stay the hell away from me. It's like, and I had learned that after speaking with some of my friends involved in wrestling, hey, what can you tell me about Rick Love? I'm like, who? I was like, Rick Love, worked down in NWA Florida. No, that name doesn't ring a bell. I'm like, really? Well, do me a favor, ask around. I was like, okay, sure, no problem. I asked around. Yeah, nah, nothing. Like, So I say all that to say this. Even for me, there was a period where when it came to NWA, but I like what Billy Corgan has been doing. Everything has just been part of his whole 20-year plan. And I like where he's going with this. It's very slow. Yeah, he might not be on USA. He might not be on TBS or whatever. But what he's been able to do with the NWA, piece by piece, month by month, year by year, what Billy Corgan has been doing with the NWA, he has been bringing back prestige and prosperity to that brand. And so I really, really, anybody that is truly a wrestling fan, I can't stress it enough. It doesn't matter what the promotion is. If you love all things wrestling, the hell with what kind of numbers NWA is doing and all that. Like, you should be there supporting them, because when it's all said and done, they've got a really good product. They really do. And I did watch the first 2 episodes of NWA Power. I'll be talking about those on the Wednesday show. WWE, just kind of going back to them one more time, they got a very tough schedule ahead of them. I'm not sure how many of you guys had saw this, but they have a tough schedule on the side of SmackDown. Peep this. Next Thursday, that SmackDown roster, they're pretty much going to be flying to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the Crown Jewel event, right? And then once that's over, they're going to fly over 6,000 miles to Buffalo, New York for the live November 1st Friday night SmackDown taping. They will do a go home for a short break, then immediately go to Europe for a UK tour that'll run until November 13th in Switzerland. Then it's back to the US for a taping in Philadelphia on November the 15th and the 16th, and then they get a little bit of a break period. Ridiculous, right? Yeah, very, very ridiculous. Also, for you Walking Dead fans, we teased it last week. I don't know how many of y'all had watched it, but after a new Walking Dead went off AMC, you had a new Talking Dead with Chris Hardwick, and AEW World Champion Chris Jericho was on that show. And if you didn't watch it yet, go out of your way and see if you can check it out on demand. I thought Jericho had did a fantastic job on Talking Dead. I almost forgot he was on the show back in 2013, but he did good. Just a little bit of opportunity they were able to give him, and he was able to go in there and talk and everything. I wish they would have given him a little bit more dialogue there in segments, but with the little bit of opportunities that he had, I thought he did good. And I know it can't really be all about Jericho, but Jericho handled himself just right. And I love how, as they were doing the graphics for promoting Talking Dead, when they were promoting Jericho, they were saying AEW World Heavyweight Champion Wrestler. So I thought that was pretty cool, especially the fact that they added wrestler to that. You're like, okay, AMC, hey, they're showing the respect there. That's badass. CM Punk, his Girl on the Third Floor movie, it hits theaters and video on demand this coming Friday. So you guys check that out when you get a chance. I'll definitely be checking it out. Look, if they're saying VOD, so I should have it on Verizon Fios coming this Friday, or basically this weekend. I'll check it out and I will definitely review it. I will do a free-for-all edition of 30 with Lee reviewing that movie, letting you all know if that's something you should go out of your way and check out. Also, CM Punk, if you were fans of his Grammar School or Grammar Slam little YouTube video series, he has a new one that's out right now while he's promoting the Girl on the Third Floor movie. It's a great addition. He tackles lose and loose. You gotta watch it if you haven't watched it yet. Hilarious, great fucking shit. You guys won't be disappointed. Let's get into some Patreon shoutouts as we get ready to wrap it up for the night here. Again, shout out to our Patreon members, man. Without their kind contributions, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Get bonus access to good audio and video content, great majority of which you won't be able to find anywhere else. Great exclusive shows like our 30 with Lee series, our Wrestling with the Topics, hosted by myself and Tammy. Good shit, man. Good shit. Shout out to Justin Ripstock, Sean Kenter, Tony Bing Gaming. You want the latest in Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and the upcoming MLBA game Marvel Super Wars. Tony Bing Gaming for walkthroughs, news, reviews, tips, and tricks. He's your man. He's also got a great YouTube channel as well. Shout out to Freddie R. Freddie! Shout out to Michael Wolf, John Davis, my brother in arms, Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup, Joe Raymond Jr. Shout out to John Krauser. Shout out to all of our Patreons. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. $5 a month. You get access to the bonus audio and video content. Heads up, before Raw had came on the air, you had a couple of dark matches. You had Natalya defeat Sarah Logan. Mojo Rawley had defeated No Way Jose. Yes way. And after the match was over, Mojo had beat down a conga line member in a cheeseburger costume. Shout out to Justin Ripstock for that, giving us that information in the Discord there. Join the Discord, by the way. If you guys haven't signed up for the Discord, you're missing out. It's free. You can interact with me and other listeners of the show. Stay connected in between the shows. We talk a little bit of shit in there. Check that out when you guys get a chance. See, anything else I want to get into? I don't really think there is. I think at this point, most of the other news that I have, I want to get into, we can really save it for the Wednesday show, since we like to talk NXT and AEW, and I usually like to talk MLW and all that, so I don't want some of that to go over people's heads. I will end with this note though. For you fans that were looking forward to seeing Jeff Hardy at the Ringside Fest, he has been replaced for that event. I'm not sure how many of you guys were aware of that, because he was announced for that event just last month, but instead Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross will be taking his place. And again, that event that he was supposed to be appearing at was going to be coming up on November 3rd, but again, it's going to be Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross instead. Now, Hardy does have a November 7th court date for his latest DWI arrest that happened in North Carolina that went down earlier this month. So yeah, that's, as you know, being presented by Ringside Collectibles. So check this out. Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, they'll be appearing from 9 a.m. until 12 p.m. You got Universal Champion Seth Rollins and Ricochet. They'll be there from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. Tickets are required for the autograph and photo opportunities. Availability very limited. If you guys want to order tickets for that event, head on over to ringsidefest.com. Once again, ringsidefest.com. And you'll be able to hopefully score some stuff. If you guys are going to be going to that event, let me know. And I don't know, maybe I can give you a little bit of money and you could get me a couple of autographs, and maybe we can kind of do something cool for the listeners. Make that be like a cool little prize giveaway or something like that. That would be kind of badass. But yeah, that's going to be going down on Sunday, November 3rd in New York City, for you guys that are curious. Listen to these packages, by the way. I'm actually looking at the packages right now. All right, so check this out. I'll just look at the autograph tickets, and then we'll do the combos and all that, all right? Ricochet, autograph ticket, $40. Ricochet, combo ticket. You get one autograph and one photo with Ricochet, $80. Seth Rollins, autograph ticket, $59.99. So just round that off to $60. You want to do a combo? That's going to cost you $100. That's pretty good for Seth Rollins. I got no problem with that. I don't know how many of you guys got a problem with that, but I'm fine with that. That's a very reasonable price. Sasha Banks, $40. You want the combo? $90. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Nikki Cross, autograph, $30. I'll take it. Alexa Bliss, $40, autograph. I'll take it. Alexa and Nikki, combo. One autograph and one autograph from each and one photo with both of them in it. That's going to cost you $90. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Seth Rollins and Ricochet combo. That's pretty much like what I just read to you guys for the Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross combo. Check this out, $170. What if you want to do a three-way with 3 women? I know you dirty motherfuckers are out there. Some of you guys are like, but Lee, not only do I like it raw, baby, I like it international. And I ain't talking about coffee mate, baby. I like to have my trio. I like to get my menage a trois on. Get me and 3 women together and watch the sparks fly, my pretty baby. Okay, you want Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, and Nikki Cross? That's going to cost you $160. For those of you curious, that's one autograph from each of them, and you get one group photo with all 3 of them. That's $160. The 5 superstar combo deal. I would imagine you're getting an autograph from all of them, and it's one group photo. That's $319. Now, there is a platinum VIP package, front of the line access, and more, which is $400. The details for this one, I read to you the first part. Front of the line access to both sessions, early access to both sections, 2 autographs from one photo. Wait a minute, 2 autographs from and one photo with WWE superstar Seth Rollins, 2 autographs. Let me read this on. I'm trying to see if I can jump ahead, but I really can't. All right, this is what you get for the $400, okay? 2 autographs from and one photo with WWE superstar Seth Rollins. 2 autographs from and one photo with WWE superstar Ricochet. 1 group dual photo with WWE superstars Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. 2 autographs from WWE superstar Alexa Bliss. 2 autographs from WWE superstar Nikki Cross. 2 autographs from and one photo with WWE superstar Sasha Banks. You will receive 5 color 8x10 photos. 1 Seth Rollins, 1 Ricochet, 1 Alexa Bliss, 1 Nikki Cross, and 1 Sasha Banks. You get a limited edition ringside Fest souvenir VIP pass. That sounds pretty good for fucking New York. Yeah, I like that. I don't know. We'll have to see. I might actually do that. I don't know. That's going to be Sunday, November 3rd at the Carolines in Broadway in Times Square, New York City. Oh, why couldn't it be in December, month of my birthday? That would be fucking better. So yeah, if you guys are going to be going to that, let me know. Maybe we can work out a deal. I'll give you a little bit extra money and pay you for your time. And maybe you can hook us up with a couple of autographs, and we could maybe give those away as like part of a cool prize wall or special giveaway or some shit like that. All right, so on that note, there's loads more, but we're going to save it for our Wednesday show. So we will be live with you guys this Wednesday for a new RCWR show. We'll be covering AEW Dynamite. We'll also be covering NXT. We'll also be talking MLW, Ring of Honor, because I've had the time to check all of those guys out. Also, by then, we're going to be able to talk about the season premiere episode of Impact Wrestling. I'm thinking about dusting off Impact Showdown to cover the return of Impact Wrestling on Access TV there, now that we don't have to deal with the Twitch streams and all that anymore. So, I'm just going to play it close to the vest because I don't really know if I'm going to be doing it or not. We'll see. Depends on how I'm feeling, right? But one thing is for certain, I will be picking up my copy of WWE 2K20 in a few hours at my local GameStop, and hop on the Twitch. Just stay connected to me on Discord. Twitter and Facebook at the RCWR Show, Instagram as well. And as soon as I go live on Twitch, I always put the link out. You guys will be able to see me play the game, and we'll do some little walkthrough tutorials. I'll give you guys first impressions. We'll do it step by step. I'll break it down in some chapters for you guys, especially for those of you that might be a little bit curious whether or not you should check that game out or not. I gotta see what's going on with those super cards. That's part of it as well, because I don't know if those super cards that's included in this year's game, if they are SummerSlam 2019 tiers or if it's Catalysm tiers. Because if it's Catalysm tiers, I may be willing to part with, if not both, one. So I may do a giveaway. I don't really know. I got to see how strong those cards are, because I was going to get the SmackDown 20th Anniversary Edition, and it just wasn't enough bang for the buck. Not for me. There wasn't enough bang for the buck. It didn't justify paying $200 for it. I'm being honest with you guys. It did not justify paying $200 for it. Even with the added Rock and Mankind cards, it just was not enough for me, especially when you've got a new tier that's getting ready to debut in a couple of weeks. So it's kind of not really sure. By the way, because I know some of you guys actually play WWE Supercard, and I do love hearing from you guys. You know, Lee, how you doing on I did participate in the Last Man Standing event, and I did pretty good. It was my second time since I've been playing WWE Supercard, and I've been playing WWE Supercard. I've been playing WWE Supercard for, I would say I've been playing it off and on for 3 years, but I didn't really get dedicated to, okay, I'm playing it religiously, I'm not really missing anything. I would say definitely for the past year. I like it. It's a good game, good high replay value. That was my second time playing a Last Man Standing event and getting the Last Man Standing card. So one of the joints I did was for Ravishing Rick Rude, and that came right at the time that Bobby Roode had turned into Robert Roode, and he had the whole mustache going on. That's when that card had dropped, and I did pretty good. My rank was in the thousands, though. I think my rank was like 6,000 and something, but I did good in this Last Man Standing Kane event. I actually got a Kane card ranked, I think it's 1,166, so it's a relatively strong card. The best I could do at one point, and I saw it more than once, I kept getting in the 650 range, and I made it to Arena 80. Yes, I made it to Arena 80. Last time when I was doing the Rick Rude, I barely made it to, I think, maybe level 65, and my roster was not that strong, but level 65, that's where I was able to peak the most. But yeah, I actually did level 80 this go around, so it was a grinder. And for those of you maybe wondering, like, well, did you spend any money on this one? At most, I probably spent $25. At most, I spent $25. And when I did spend the $25, my $25 had went to the Last Man Standing boosters. You all know exactly what I'm talking about that play the game. You know what I'm talking about. When you see those, get them, right? Because they stretch it out once a day. You can buy 2 of those and it stretches out once a day. So essentially, you've got, if you really stop and think about it, you got 10 reveals, 10 blocks, then the next day. So when it's all said and done, you're getting 30 reveals and 30 blocks. That does go a long ways to help you out. So if you got $30 you can spare, basically, when those Last Man Standing events roll around, that's kind of something you kind of want to have in the back of your mind. To Supercard's credit and Cat Daddy, the publisher, they do give you enough proper time to try to prepare for those events, because I think they usually let you know like 4 or 5 days out or some shit like that. So it's kind of cool how they got it set up. But yeah, so I'm enjoying my new Kane card, man. I'm loving it. I'm just whooping the competition's asses left and right. And yeah, that's it. All right, so before we end this stream, once again, I want to take the time out, not only thank our patrons, I want to thank our sponsors for this week's show as well. Shout out once again to the law office of Ryan Quinn right here in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Give him a holler. The law office of Ryan Quinn specializes in motor vehicle accidents in the D.C. and Virginia areas. Call the law office of Ryan Quinn today at 703-457-1300 for a consultation, or visit the website rquinnlaw.com. Accidents happen. They are there to make it right. Also, shout out to recording artist Ariel Digit. Check out his newest track, Drugs and Alcohol, out on the Bandcamp site. Shout out to Julian Shabazz and his third edition of Black Stars of Professional Wrestling, available on Amazon.com for just $15.95. Check that out. Good stuff. Shout out to my good friends over at Leafy Legal Services. If you are a real estate investor or an entrepreneur, whether you're starting off or you're a veteran entrepreneur, you need to get a better grip on your financial assets for your business and all that, or your real estate, Leafy Legal Services can help you out. Check them out at leafyassets.com. Shout out to Joey L. Dowdy. Check out his website. Shout out to the people behind the movie President Evil. Check that out on Amazon as well. Appreciate all of our sponsors, our Patreon members, most importantly. Special shout out to our listeners here. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to Austin. Shout out to Steve. Shout out to DJ Subia. And shout out, most important, to everybody that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. I'm glad we're still on the air. Let's see how many of you are paying attention. I had teased this on social media. We have a announcement we need to make. Let's see how many of you are paying attention. Let me know you're paying attention. Get at me on social media or leave a comment. So, set this up properly. Right before the weekend, before I got ready to go to PA, I was just mysteriously on a site, just out of curiosity. And I find out, oh shit. All right, so we're on there now. Cool. So, I'm proud to say to you guys, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is now on Pandora. That's the big announcement, if you guys saw that on social media. So, I couldn't be any more ecstatic. I remember how I had felt when I found out we were on Spotify. I loved that tremendously. And it was weird how I found out, because I was looking in the back end, I was looking at the analytics, seeing how everybody had been accessing the show for the past 30 days. And I see Pandora and I'm like, the fuck? The hell is Pandora? I'm like, what the fuck is a Pandora? I'm like, wait, that Pandora? I'm like, and I had downloaded the Pandora app. I went in and holy shit, the RCWR Show is now on Pandora. So I'm happy for that, to be on even another cool platform where even more people are going to be able to check out the show. I think that's great. And just looking at the stats from the past, just looking at the stats from the past 30 days now, I see that as far as the percentage breakdown of listeners that's coming from Pandora, we got about at least out of 100%, I think it's at least 5 to 10% of our audience is coming from Pandora. They're accessing the show from Pandora. So I think that's fucking badass. That is awesome. So can't tell you how ecstatic I am that the show is now on Pandora. And, I'll take it. I will fucking take it. Of course, for me, the ultimate goal is to one day have the show maybe be picked up by, FM, AM, or even Sirius, and I've had a few conversations with some folks in those respected areas off and on over the years, and they've kind of kept tabs on me, what I've been doing and everything. So I'll say never say never. Oh, but I would love to do something like that. Even if it was an internship, I am all ears as far as doing an internship in radio and all that. I would be all fucking ears. So definitely wanted to end the stream on that good note. So I'm sure a lot of you guys that check out Pandora and all that, that should make a lot of you guys happy. All right. So on that note, catch you guys on Twitch for some 2K20 gameplay. And everybody else, Wednesday night, we will be doing a new RCWR show right after AEW Dynamite and NXT go off the air. Come on back here. And also in the Discord, we'll be streaming the show live for you guys. Appreciate those of you who will be checking us out on demand on the downloads. And until next go round, wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Y'all do take care. Very good night. Good morning, y'all.